Hello there, and welcome back. Well, today it's Saturday and the 1st of November. Looking outside, nice blue sky and actually quite pleasantly warm at the moment. Although it was a little chilly first thing in the morning. I needed a sweater on, but then it is November now. And today is the Day of the Dead. Hence my rather nice t-shirt that arrived the other day. So, Feliz Dia de los Muertos. Actually, it's 2 days, as both the 1st of November and the 2nd are both Day of the Dead. In the Christian tradition, the 2nd of November is All Souls' Day, and there is that similarity. So, another of those days that the Christian faith stole from Mexico, and also in the pagan faith as well. This always seemed to be the case at the start of when, I guess, Christianity became popular, that they looked at the calendars and thought, yeah, we don't really have anything on for those days. At the start of November, we don't have any around that time we're going to call Easter. And Christmas. Yeah, that's a good one we can steal as well. So that was really when things started to get Christianized, I would say. Stealing pagan and Aztec ideas. So whereas today it's the Day of the Dead, back in Celtic and pagan tradition, this was the Festival of Samhain, which marked the start of winter after the end of the harvest. And the end of the harvest was that day which they've now called Halloween. The Celts believed that during Samhain there was a boundary between the living and the dead. And during this period, from last night to today, this boundary opened and it allowed the spirits to return to the human world. And these spirits were honored by their families, and they were given offerings. On a table there would be offerings of food and other things for the returning souls to enjoy. This is also done in Dia de los Muertos, with the altar, food, drink, and many other things. I think people outside of Mexico look at the festival and think it's some kind of macabre thing. They think that Mexicans are very macabre and look at death as being special. In a way, I think they probably think that it's Halloween 2.0. It's true that people celebrate in costumes, dressed as skeletons with their faces painted. And there are some absolutely fabulous painted faces, like absolutely amazing skulls. And it's really as a way of honouring, more than looking at death as being something negative. But Day of the Dead really is a celebration of the lives of those who are no longer here, those who have departed. Not death itself. The most fabulous place where the festival is celebrated is in Michoacan, on Lake Pátzcuaro. I really must visit that sometime. It does look such a good thing. Sorry for the bing from my phone there. And in Mexico City, there is an incredible parade for Dia de los Muertos. And you'd believe that it's an annual tradition, that every year there are these processions. But, well, it has been every year. but only since 2015, as they never used to have it before. Well, that is until the James Bond movie Spectre was released, where James Bond is chasing the Bond villain and is in Mexico City. And it's only since that movie that there has been this fabulous parade. Well, I'm glad British culture did influence Mexican culture to a degree. I think the city authorities in the capital must have looked at the parade in the movie and saw that there were a lot of people and thought, you know what, that really does bring in the tourists, doesn't it? Let's pencil it in the calendar for future years, shall we? Here in Monterey, the day doesn't seem to have as much of a spectacle. It's not as big as it is in the more southern states. Yet Halloween tends to get celebrated a little bit more. I don't know if that's a cultural thing or what really, but it would be nice to see people celebrate Day of the Dead a little bit more here in Monterey. But people do celebrate, or commemorate, I should say, their long departed with altars in their homes. There are altar competitions in the universities, and on the altars there's always the favourite food and drink of their loved ones who are no longer with them, and always a loaf of pan de muerto, the dead bread, which is kind of how it translates, and usually decorated with the traditional orange flower, the cempasúchil, which is a very vivid marigold, to give it its English name. And people everywhere will be, today and tomorrow, in the cemeteries, laying flowers, generally the cempasúchil, or other favourite flowers of those no longer with them. Some in places like Chiapas, Oaxaca, and other states, people stay overnight. They camp there with candles illuminating the cemeteries, enjoying food, talking to the spirits. It really is a fabulous idea, and it's one of those lovely traditions that I didn't really understand quite so much until I arrived here. I knew a little about it before, but not that much. And yeah, it's a very touching tradition as well, that people look on their departed as still being with them on at least 1 or 2 days of the year. On the subject of flowers, I think yesterday and today, it was probably best to avoid the Avenue Venustiano Carranza here in Monterey, to avoid it at all costs. Not because it's a terrible street, but at this time of the year, there are so many flowers for sale. There are flower vendors along that street and the streets off it are chaotic, with people coming, just stopping anywhere, buying flowers, parking wherever they can. And also one of the main cemeteries is off of Venustiano Carranza on Aramberri, and more flower shops there, and I think there will be many visiting the graves there. Yeah, it is a place to avoid. Order your flowers by Interflora, I think, is probably the best way. So it's an incredible celebration, but I just wish Monterey would celebrate it a little more rather than Halloween. Well, that's my opinion. Maybe they do celebrate a little bit more. They just do it in a more subtle way. On the subject of the dear departed, here are my two, who are sadly no longer with us. So, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe on the buttons below. And bye for now. See you soon.